Don't mind the rather interesting attire. It's been nearly a week since I tried to fix the oil drain return on the Hilux, but I ran into issues, 2 broken uni joints later and a lot of bloodied knuckles. I decided to give it a bit of a rest. It's currently Wednesday. I started fixing it Thursday last week and haven't touched it since. I was at it for about 4 or 5 hours. I started off just trying to take the exhaust off because that would have made my life a lot easier. But with the very last exhaust bolt, I just could not for the life of me get off. That's how I broke 2 uni joints. So I decided I'm just going to leave the exhaust on and try and get it the other way. It's very finicky, there's not much room, but I'm going to give it another go and see if I can actually get it done. But before I do that, I should probably get into some more appropriate clothing. Now that we are properly dressed for the occasion, I just need to grab my tools. Unfortunately, they're in the garage and I don't want to get them, but I do know a little spell that will actually get your tools for you and make them appear in front of you. The spell is Tullius Appearis, and all you need to do is a little bit of hand magic to get it to work too. It goes a little something like this. Tullius Appearis. Alright, I'm not sure what the go is there. Maybe I just didn't say it right or something. I'll try that one again. Tullius Appearis. Okay, I'm not sure what the go is there. Tools should be appearing, but the only thing that's appearing is me, and I'm definitely not a tool. Ouch. All jokes aside, we do have our tools, so now I'm ready to spend the next 6 hours doing a job that should take 2. If last time is anything to go off, this is going to take a lot longer than it should. It's currently about 3 PM I think, but it will more than likely be dark. Well, it'll definitely be dark by the time I'm finished, but even just by the time I'm getting the pipe actually off, there's only the one banjo bolt to do. I've already got all 4 of the other screws. But that one banjo bolt is proving to be a bit of a bitch. I'll see if I end up taking the wheel off again. It did help a lot last time, but also it is currently on grass and I don't particularly want to use jack stands on grass again, but we'll see how we go. So I've spent about 5 minutes, got my hands real dirty, and I've managed to actually loosen the banjo bolt. I'll show you what it looks like underneath. I'm not going to bother using any of the other footage I recorded the other day because it was basically me just getting angry at the car. I didn't even end up having to take the wheel or the exhaust off to get it off. It was a pain in the ass and it ended up just being a lot of intricate handwork. But we ended up getting there, so I'll show you exactly where it is. It's very difficult to see. We're just underneath the car here. So if we look straight up there, we've got the underside of our turbo. I'll zoom in here. You can just see right there. You can see where I've loosened the banjo bolt just there. Basically the easiest way ended up just being getting in it around here. Basically just sticking my arm up through the wheel well around there and able to just get to the banjo bolt and loosen it with a 17mm offset ring spanner. And then once it was loose, it wasn't even that tight to begin with, just undoing it by hand for the rest. We finally got the bloody banjo bolt off, so that was the hardest part. So as you can see, just the pipe that basically follows it up there is where the banjo bolt is, right there. Now basically all we have left to do are these 2 bolts here, and then the 2 bolts on the underside of the turbo just there. Thankfully these are already all loosened for me, but I'll show you how I did it. First of all, if you can, I'd highly recommend taking your wheel off. If you've got a proper hoist or just a setup that's less dodgy than this, take your wheel off if you can. It'll give you so much more room and you can actually sit in your wheel well. It makes your life a whole lot easier. But even if you can't, it's still possible to do. The bolts on here are a 12mm, so I've just got a 12mm on an extension on a 1/4" ratchet. And that was fairly easy to get to. I was also using a uni, but it has since broken because I was trying to get the exhaust off with it. So it's a lot easier with the wheel out, but basically you can get in there and get it off that way. And then the back side, that's where I use the uni, so I'd recommend using a uni for that because it'll make your life a whole lot easier. And then the last 2 are really easy to get to. They're just the 2 bolts here. They're a 10mm bolt. What I'd recommend doing is literally just chucking a 10mm on a uni on as many extensions as you can on just a 1/2" ratchet. because basically it's really easy to get to, but it's just a very long way away. But yeah, once you can actually get it there, it makes your life a whole lot easier. Now that I'm not going to be actually working under the car, I decided to take the wheel off. It's jacked up very dodgily, I don't like it, but we're only doing it for a little bit just to get this off. So here's our banjo bolt here, and the little gasket that goes around that. We have both of our 12mm nuts, which go on the top side of the turbo. And then we have our 10mm bolts that go on the bottom side there. So now that all of them are out, with a little bit of finagling, it's hard to get it off this standoff bit here. With a little bit of finagling and wiggling it around, I managed to get it off there. And now we've removed our turbo oil drain. No visual cracks as of now. What I'm going to do is I'll probably block it all off and chuck it underwater and see if air's leaking out of anywhere, to try and potentially find a crack in it. But for now anyway, I bought the new part, I spent the money on it, I might as well chuck a new one in. And let's see how we go. So I did some research, and apparently the play is just to literally remove the stud. That way you can have room to actually get it in. So all you need is just a 6mm socket, and that just goes onto the end of the stud there. And then you can just take the stud out of the turbo, and that way have enough room to actually get it all back in place. I'll see if I can get in with just one stud removed, but I'll probably have to end up removing both. We finally finished with the 4 bolts that we needed to do. Now all that's left is the one little banjo bolt. So I've decided I'm gonna jack the car back down, put it on the wheel just so I'm not working under dodgy jack stands, and then I'll get to the banjo bolt. Thankfully, I don't really need light for the banjo bolt. It's done all off feel anyway, so it doesn't really matter the fact that the sun's already set. After a lot of swearing at the car and a lot of bloody knuckles, we finally got there. Hopefully that did fix the oil leak so we can get this car registered on the road making more cool videos. If you haven't already, go check out the latest video of the Skyline. I went to a drift event, met up with a local YouTuber, ended up being a really good day.